What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Oak Tree Football Channel, and welcome to another 2020 college football schedule breakdown and record prediction video. Today, I will be doing the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Golden Gophers surprised a lot of people last year with Tanner Morgan having a good year. They actually were pretty highly ranked in the Big Ten. They were very good in the Big Ten. They just missed the Big Ten championship game. Really came out of nowhere. Like I said, Tanner Morgan really emerged as a good college football quarterback, and PJ Fleck is the coach of Minnesota right now, and he looked very, very good for them. They are losing a bit of talent in Tyler Johnson, but they still do have Rashad Bateman at the same position. Rashad Bateman should be able to put up probably better numbers because really last year Tyler Johnson and Rashad Bateman were both two outstanding receivers, and there wasn't really a true number one. There was two number ones. Now Rashad Bateman will be that true number one. He should get a lot more targets this year. But with that being said, let's get into looking at the Golden Gophers schedule. So they went 11-2 last year. Like I said, a very good record. And they had the 38th best recruiting class. Not the best recruiting class. Could be better, but I still do have pretty high hopes for Minnesota this year. Week 1, have a very easy game. It's against Florida Atlantic at home. This should be a pretty easy one. I think Florida Atlantic is one of the worst teams in college football. Should be a pretty simple win. I mean, they're not terrible, but by no means are they good, and I don't think they'll be able to put up much of a fight, especially in Minnesota. I think that should be a Minnesota win. And then the same in Week 2, another very, very easy team. It's Tennessee Tech. Not a great football team at all. Minnesota should be able to start off 2-0, and I can't see them not starting 2-0, to be honest. Week 3, though, they could have their first loss. They're at home again, but it's against Iowa. Iowa's a very interesting team to me. They could be very good, but they're losing some talent. I could definitely see them being pretty bad, especially they're losing quarterback Nate Stanley. We'll see how they turn out this season. I think if they're gonna be good this year, it'll probably be towards the end of the seaseason after they've actually played some games. I don't think Iowa will be able to win this game, so I'm pretty sure Minnesota should have a 3-0 start to the season, and I think they can make it 4-0 because BYU isn't that great of a football team. This was a pretty easy start for Minnesota, and that is very, very nice. I think it should be a 4-0 start, at least 3-1. If they only have 2 wins, or even 1 win, or even 0 wins at this point, that's not good. But I don't expect that to happen. I think they'll start off probably 4-0. Week 5, they have their first away game, and it could be a tough game. It's Maryland. So Maryland recently got Tua Tagovailoa's brother, Taulia Tagovailoa. So Maryland could be a team to look out for this season. I'm very excited to see them. Obviously, Taulia isn't as good as his brother was, but he can still be a good quarterback, and I'm very excited to see how he plays with Maryland. He's actually going to get some real starting playing time, which he didn't get much at Alabama. So Maryland's going to be a very fun team to watch this season. With that being said, I still believe Minnesota will probably win this game. They're the better team, but it's going to be a fun game to watch. Week 6, this is probably the toughest game of the season. They're playing Wisconsin. It's probably their toughest opponent, and they're on the road. This game is going to be tough for Minnesota, and I can't really see them winning it. Of course, Wisconsin and Minnesota are both in the Big Ten West, which means this game is very important for who goes to the championship game. Last year was Wisconsin, and I think that really whoever wins this game will probably be the team that goes to the championship game because these are two very good rosters, and I think similar win totals this season is what I would expect, so it's a very important game. I think Wisconsin has the upper hand just because they are pretty much the better team, and they are at home. But I would not be surprised if Minnesota won this game. Week 7, another tough game. They're at home this time, but it's against Michigan. Michigan is a team for me that could either be very, very good this season or just above average. I think they'll be ranked, but I feel like it'll be more of the same from the past few years. We haven't really seen anything great from Michigan. We haven't seen anything terrible, but they just haven't really been able to win these big games. I think they could beat Minnesota. I definitely think they could beat Minnesota this season. This is going to be a very fun game to watch, very interesting game to watch. Game to look out for, one of Minnesota's tougher games on the schedule. I could see this game going either way. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Week 8, they have an away game, but it's an easy one. It's against Illinois. Illinois shouldn't put up much of a challenge, especially with Minnesota. Can't see them winning that many games this season, especially playing an opponent like Minnesota, even though they are at home. Can't see them winning this game. Week 9, they're on the road again, but they're at Michigan State. Michigan State really had a terrible, terrible offseason. And I don't think there's very high hopes for them this season, at least not for me. I don't expect much from Michigan State this year. And I think this should be a pretty easy win for Minnesota. And then week 10, they have Purdue. They are at home for this game. I think Purdue could be a very, very good team this season. They do have a lot of talent on that roster. I don't think they're going to be like the level that Minnesota probably will be, but I do think they can give Minnesota a challenge. I do think Minnesota probably will win this game, but I could see it being pretty challenging against Purdue because they are a talented football team and they could put up some points this season. So I expect a good season from Purdue. But Minnesota still is a better team, and they probably will win this one. Week 11, they have a bye week. Not the best spot for a bye week later in the season. Week 12, they have Northwestern. Northwestern's a very interesting team. They have Peyton Ramsey as their quarterback now, the transfer from Indiana. He could play very well. He's shown that he can be well at times. He can be good at times. But he also isn't always the best quarterback, which is why I think he got transferred from Indiana. So Northwestern's a team to look out for this season for me. I don't think they'll beat Minnesota, but I'm just excited to watch them, and I'm excited to see how they do against these probably higher ranked teams, such as Minnesota. So I'm very excited to see them, but I think that Minnesota will probably be able to get the win at home, and then they end the season with an away game. It's against Nebraska. Nebraska's probably one of the easiest games on their schedule, along with Florida Atlantic and Tennessee Tech. They're just not that good of a football team. The Cornhuskers, not that great. I think Minnesota should be able to probably get a win in this game. So now, as I always do, I will go through each game once again, and I'll give my winning prediction, what team I think will win. So week 1, Florida Atlantic. Easy win for Minnesota. Same with week 2. This should probably be their biggest win of the season against Tennessee Tech. Then it really gets interesting. Week 3, they have Iowa. I think they'll be able to win this game. I could see it being close. I definitely could. But I do think Minnesota is the better team, and I do think they will be able to win this game at home. Week 4, they have BYU. I think this should be a pretty easy win for Minnesota. Even though BYU does have some good players, I'm not saying that they're just terrible. I do think Minnesota should be able to win this game to get a 4-0 start to the season. I think they'll beat Maryland. I think it can actually be pretty close, but I think they will beat Maryland on the road. But then week 6 is where I think they'll get their first loss. Wisconsin is a very good football team, and Wisconsin is the home team for this game. I can't see Minnesota winning this game. This is the one game on their schedule that I don't think they'll win. I can see them winning every other game. Maybe I can see them beating Wisconsin, but I think there's the chance of them beating Wisconsin is the worst of everyone on their schedule, I think. Week 7, this is a very tough game. I actually have them losing to Michigan, but I could definitely see them winning. But I think they will lose. I'm going to go with a loss for this game. I think it will definitely be close. But I do think they will win this game. Week 8, Illinois. I think this is a win right here. And I think same week 9 against Michigan State. Even though both games are on the road to not great football teams, Minnesota should be able to get the job done in both those. Week 10 against Purdue. This is going to be a very, very fun game. I'm actually very excited for this one. But Minnesota is the better team, and they should be able to get the win in this one. But I can see Purdue putting up a good fight. Then they have the bye week, and then they have Northwestern. I think they'll beat Northwestern at home. Northwestern might be able to put up a few points, more than some people might expect, but I still think Minnesota will win. And then on the final game of the season, I think they will go to Nebraska, and I think they'll win to give them a record of 10-2 on the season. I could see them being better than this. I could see them probably being 11-1, but I can't see them going undefeated unless they really, really stepped up. But very, very good team for Michigan. PJ Fleck is a very good coach. Tanner Morgan, I think he can have another good season. And Rashad Bateman should be very, very good this season. I don't think this will be enough to get them into the Big Ten championship just because of that loss to Wisconsin. I'll do a Wisconsin prediction in a few days. So it's going to be really close between them and Wisconsin. Wisconsin might have the same record as them, though, and in that case, they would go to the championship game because they beat Minnesota. But I could definitely see them beating Michigan. I don't think they'll beat Wisconsin. At worst, I'm saying 4 losses probably. Probably 4, I would say. Michigan and Wyoming. Sorry, not Wyoming, Wisconsin. I don't know why I said Wyoming. So Michigan, Wisconsin, and then probably I would say Purdue and Iowa. Even though those are both home games, those are both, I think, tough games. And I do think they will win both those, but those are, I think, those are the 4 toughest games of the season, in my opinion. But those are my thoughts on Minnesota for the season. What are you guys' thoughts on Minnesota? Tell me in the comment section below. If you're new around here, feel free to subscribe for more daily NFL and college football content. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. I really do hope you guys enjoyed because I'm enjoying making this content. I hope you guys are enjoying watching it as much as I'm enjoying making it. But once again, thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. And I will see you guys in the next video.